Here we are. We're live. Okay.
Cheers to being live. It's good to be alive.
Oh, it's good to be the king.
Yes.
He's dead.
Oh.
Long live
It's
the
not
king.
so good to be the king. Let me see something. We got music, right?
Yeah, that seems to work.
I've got music. Hey.
I've got rhythm.
Who could ask for anything more?
Welcome to the musical version of Caching in the Northwest.
Hey. Well, there's an idea for a future episode.
We're caching in the
We've done
Northwest.
puppets.
Let's do music. You know, my choir director pays me to stay out of the choir.
That's a good gig. I should get that one.
Oh, I've earned it. Okay, hey, let's take this live, guys. I'm going to open. I think
could
Wits
go
End is
wrong?
closing. Yeah, Wits End, you're closing.
Okay.
And in between, we'll do this thing.
Cool.
So, I've got recording. We are live. I'm going to play some music. Let's go. Well, it's Thursday night, and we've got a couple of guys sitting in front of computers, so this must be Caching in the Northwest. It's the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the Great Pacific Northwest. We'll talk about caches. Caches unique to this little corner of the country. So grab that replacement cache from the car. It's time to go caching in the Northwest.
Oh, yes, it is. And it's also time to bring in our nocturnal nut bar. You know, some say he can only find a cache by the light of the moon, and others say he's only allowed to go outside by the light of the moon, and all we really know is he's called Land Monkey.
Good evening, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be introduced in such a special, wonderful way every Thursday evening. It's something I look forward to all week. Just thinking, what wonderful thing are my colleagues going to say about me tonight? So, you know, it's good to have goals, and it's good to have something that moves you forward. And speaking of things that...
It's nice that you write him in the script for us to say about you.
Who recorded this? And
Oh, sorry.
speaking of...
Don't tell people that.
Speaking of things to look forward to, we've been looking forward to our very special guest tonight. You may have seen him last week if you were watching this show, and you will see him once again this week if you're watching this show. And if you're not, you may even hear him if you're listening to this show. And if you don't hear him or see him, then I'm really not sure what's going on here. But
You're not listening to this show.
why are you not listening? Whatever you're doing, stop and listen. I would like to introduce Three Hams and a Rose.
Howdy, folks. It's an honor to be here.
It is an honor to have you on this show.
Yes, indeed.
It is. Well,
Yes.
as you know, we've said this before, and we will continue to say it again, because we love hearing from you about your favorite caches and caching locations right here in the Northwest. And we like that in your own voice, because we hear our own voices way too much. So be sure to use that voicemail too on the website, or go ahead and give a call to 253-693-TFTC and send us your favorite cache, and we will play it on the podcast soon. For those of you that are a little shy, your message only needs to be about 15 seconds long. That's enough time to say your geocaching name, the GC code, and the name of the cache and why you liked it. But as is tradition, we like to take our guests and throw them right under the bus. So, Three Hams and a Rose, what is your favorite cache in the Northwest?
Oh, there's so many, and you've heard me call in about quite a few of them. I'm going to pick one that I did on, coincidentally enough, September the 11th of this past year. It was a Where I Go in Bellingham, Washington, GC 39A5C. I would never have gone to this part of Bellingham. It was absolutely beautiful, lovely historical things to see. It was a wonderful 1-hour walk through the core of Bellingham. A lot of fun.
Nice.
Very cool. And Bellingham is a really neat little town, and there's some amazing forestry and railroad history in Bellingham.
Yep, that's the one. It's called A Walking History of Railroad Avenue.
Very cool.
Gonna have to go check that out next time I get up to the Bellingham area.
Avenue that's been railroaded.
No,
Well, I know a few podcasts that have been railroaded.
Same idea.
You know, speaking of podcasts,
Yes.
plural, we have some news. We want to remind all of our listeners, and those of us that are not listeners but watching, I don't know what to call them, everybody out there that's hearing this message, we want to remind you all that on December 13th, that's just over a week away, head over to cacheandrelease.com/live for the Cache and Release 2-hour geocaching extravaganza. This episode is going to feature 10, or in binary 2, 10 of your favorite geocaching podcasters discussing a range of socially awkward topics, perhaps even geocaching. Who knows?
You know, guys, I have said on this podcast, and I know I've talked to you a time or two, one of the things I really want to do is snowshoe. Have any of you snowshoed?
Yes.
We have. Oh, of course, the two Canadians. That's just a natural way of moving around in Canada, correct?
Well, they snowshoed to school both ways, carrying their brothers and sisters on their backs, I'm sure.
Uphill. Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
you
uphill
have,
both.
you have to go out and check the trap line.
Yeah.
Well, from the Cache
Or with
Safely.
snowshoes and toques, I think.
Oh.
That's right, eh?
Okay.
From the Cache Safely and Cache Often department, Land Monkey has found a story promoted by our good friends at North Shore Search and Rescue, and I trust these people. The article is How to Kill Yourself Snowshoeing.
Do you still trust them?
I'm beginning to wonder now. Let's clarify something very quickly. Caching in the Northwest does not promote killing yourself, whether it's by snowshoe or any other means. Instead, we want you to get outside, geocache, have fun, and get home safe. So,
Especially on Thursday night.
exactly. This is an excellent article, and we recommend anyone interested in getting out snowshoeing, even, those somewhat experienced at it, like, all Canadians.
Yeah.
The key points in this article are understanding the equipment and how it functions, the weather, terrain, where you'll be, general behavioral responses to changes in your snowshoeing environment. Okay? So, the most interesting was an explanation of how crampons and snowshoe cleats function and how best to traverse uneven terrain with them. So, it's really worth a read, folks. As always, the link will be in the show notes. You want to go check this out. I found it fascinating.
Thank you, Bad Cop. And I have to say, considering that I'm going to give away a little secret here, I actually wrote that part of the script for the Bad Cop and put in a little alliteration in there, somewhat intentionally to see if I could trip up his tongue after a long day at work. That was well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
But yeah, it was a neat article. I quite enjoyed reading through it. It's the title's a little tongue-in-cheek, but it grabs your attention, and they've got some great points. And I agree. I thought one of the more interesting parts was actually talking about crampons and snowshoe cleats, and that once the terrain you're on gets at a certain angle, you really need to be conscious of how you're stepping and how fast you're going. Because people just don't realize it. They think, well, I'm on snowshoes, I can walk, and you have to kind of know what you're doing. If you're on a flat trail, for the most part, you're pretty good. But yeah, it's good advice. It's a good article. And I would throw out there another piece of news, another announcement that we'd like to make. For those who listened to our last full episode, you may have heard me mention near the end the Land Sharks geocaching cruise to Alaska, departing from Vancouver, British Columbia in August of next year, 2016. There is still room. So if you're interested, make sure to head over to travel.landsharks.ca and find out more. And hopefully, Mrs. Land Monkey and I will see you on the cruise.
Sounds fun.
Nice. I'm still pushing the point you have to podcast live from the Lido deck. Maybe in a hot tub.
I will definitely record live from the Lido deck, but amongst the things I've read, data on a cruise ship is not only not super fast, but super expensive.
Super expensive. I've heard that too.
And I come back with, so
you gotta work.
You have a huge budget? You guys have tons of money in the budget for the show.
Exactly.
Come on. The prize vault may be empty for a few years, but yeah. Oh dear.
So, gentlemen, how has your week been? Did you get out and do any geocaching? Let's start with our fine feathered guest.
Oh, that's me.
That's you.
Oh, I didn't know I had feathers. Yeah, my son and I, he's 11, we had a fantastic hike this past weekend, 6 hours long. It was sub-zero temperatures. We did 14 kilometers and found 18 caches. And, yeah, we had about a 300-meter, 1,000 feet, section of severe blowdown that we were not expecting. The trees had all come down on the trail. They were between knee-deep and waist-deep. That took us a long time to walk across, but we did it, and he survived barely, but, yeah, it was great.
So which trail system was that?
This is in Belcarra, the Carra-Holly Trail, so on the east side.
So east of Vancouver, northeast of Vancouver.
Correct.
Very cool. Yes, we've done that trail as well. It is an amazing trail. Where was the blowdown approximately on the trail system?
It was at Carra-Holly Trail number 10, where you depart south for Admiralty Trail.
Okay. Wow.
So it's already sort of getting off their proper trail system.
Yeah. Cool.
So
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say a 6-hour, 14-kilometer hike. Isn't
Yes.
that basically what all Canadians do to get to school?
Yes. It takes my kids about 5 hours to get to school. They have one class, and then we turn around and head home.
Okay.
Nice. Nice. Well, Bad Cop, how about you? How was your geocaching experience this week?
I want to apologize to all Canadians for my rude comments. You know, I had a pretty good week of geocaching. I don't know if you've heard, but I'm still working on filling out that fines calendar. Yeah, Wits End knows. Hey, come on, it's lunchtime. We got to go get a cache today.
I hear about it often.
We got to get a cache today. Where are we going? But it's nice to look on my calendar and see 3 solid months of fines now. So
Yay!
little by little. I guess we could go 3.5 because it's like August 13th. That's the one I'm missing from when I started there. So we got to wrap all the way around. But I'm working on it. So, go out and find a cache. And I've got a lot to find in December.
Do you have Leap Day?
Yes, I already had Leap Day.
Oh, nice.
That's the hardest one, right? Yeah.
It's funny. My calendar's nowhere near full, but I do have Leap Day.
Yeah. we went together and had an event and some other things there, yeah. So it was interesting. We have a calendar hanging on our wall at work that had November 31st. So I went out and found a cache on that day.
It's a metric calendar.
Yeah. Land Monkey, what about you?
Well, surprisingly, we got out and did a little geocaching this weekend. I know it's shocking to everybody.
Any earth caches?
Sorry?
Any earth caches?
Actually, no. We didn't do any earth caches, but we did do...
That's shocking to me.
That is shocking. Well, we've gotten to the point where Mrs. Land Monkey said, International Earth Cache Day rolls around, and it's usually on Canadian Thanksgiving, and you use up all the earth caches around here.
Save them.
Dang it! I hate it when she's right. Anyways, because there are some cool newer ones in the Greater Vancouver area that I want to get to, but I'm just gonna have to pace myself. But what we did do is we did. Did we do a Where I Go? Yes, we did a Where I Go. We did letterbox, which was a tricky letterbox, but it was fun. And a few other caches. We went to Deer Lake Park in Burnaby. That was a lot of fun. Enjoyed the day there. And then the next day, after church, we headed out to the Jackman Wetlands, which is a brand new park in Aldergrove, British Columbia. This is basically halfway between Langley and Abbotsford, if that means anything to anybody other than Brylang. And it's a brand new park, so there's caches just put in there. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, that was it.
Aren't those caches by Brylang?
A couple of them. Who's in there? Graphinator, Brylang. Somebody else has. Anyways, but yeah, mostly Graphinator and Brylang.
Very cool. And speaking of February 29th, a.k.a. Leap Day, IHAM comments in the Q&A, he's seriously thinking of taking February 29th off work just to ensure that he can fill in that spot on his calendar. So, and Branislaw says, "You had me at Where I Go."
You sure it wasn't a little earlier that we had you? I don't know. You got 3 hams and a roast and land monkey on the same show.
Okay.
That might be a little too much for Mark. I don't know.
Could be. Hey, I actually did some caching too this week. I know that shocks you guys.
It does.
But, well,
I'm sorry, who are you?
It was a holiday weekend, and I had a little extra time off work, so we did the over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house for the U.S. Thanksgiving 4-day weekend. So I spent some time with my in-laws, which means that I spent some time out geocaching near my in-laws' house. Because what do you do when you go visit your in-laws? Well, you give your wife time with her mother, don't you?
You avoid your in-laws.
That's what I'm doing. No, I went over and visited, and my son and I went out and found several caches near their house. Found about a dozen caches over the weekend, which for me is quite a big number. I know the rest of you find that over your lunch break on snowshoes. But
while periscoping.
While periscoping, of course.
Uphill.
But I found about a dozen or so. Found some really fun ones, and including ran over to Spokane on Saturday. There's a tradition that I found out. Cache Advance has a game day at the cave or game night at the cave. Anyway, it's an event cache at the Cache Cave. Got to play some board games there with Lookout Lisa and met Air Rooster. Air Rooster owns the Cache Me If You Can game. Board game, which is a lot of fun. It comes in an ammo can. I had not played it before. Since he owned it, I said, please show me how to lose to Air Rooster. I mean, play the game. He did win handily. However, I beat him at his other game. He had a card game called Go Caching. Is it Go Cache or Go Caching? Have you seen that one?
No.
That was kind of fun, and I managed to beat him in his own game, so that made it a little more enjoyable for me. And but had a great time. Got to see the new Cache Advance headquarters, Cache Cave. They had moved since I'd been to Spokane last. Alas, I did not have time to even think about doing the Spokane History Geo Tour that I've heard so much about, but I hope to someday. Did see the Doctor Who cache there where it started and all that. There you go. He's got the
I just happen to have a card right here in front of me.
Yeah. And then as we left the Cache Cave, I asked Air Rooster and Lookout Lisa for a recommendation. I said, I don't have a lot of time left in my trip, but what's one cache that you'd recommend me go? And Air Rooster looked up on his phone and says, here, you got to go do this one. And
was
so
it just outside the door?
That one I'd already done. No, there was a, you're familiar with the little library boxes around. There was I think it's called North Green Acres. Little library. That one was really cool. It was kind of a gadget cache, and it was really, really fun. So met the CEO out there. It's in front of his house. But if you're in the area, go check that one out. I don't remember the exact GC code. I should have been prepared. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But it was a lot of fun. Had a good weekend.
That is awesome. Well, we have that is cool. I think have we all the hosts on the show tonight been to the new Cache Cave?
I'll tell you what, I have
Yes.
not.
Yes, I have. Yep.
So everybody except the bad cop.
I don't know if he was at the old cache cave.
No. No, I'm boycotting.
All right. Well, Lisa, you know which hosts like you the most now.
right.
And
Yes, indeed.
anyways, and it's funny. I think Three Hams, you and I missed each other like by a day at the Cache Cave this summer.
Yeah, I saw your, not business card, but you'd left a bunch of, I think it was Helena GeoTour cards on the front desk there.
There
That's
are some Land
yeah.
Monkey business cards on the counter there. I can vouch for that. I saw them this week.
Oh, there are, yes. Yeah,
That's
just
awesome.
missed each other.
Lisa, we love you. All right.
Of course we do. You know it's not because I don't want to go there.
What have we got in the Q&A? Air Rooster has given a little qualification there. It's the Go Cache card game.
Yeah.
Is what you guys are playing. That sounds like fun. We'll have
It
to-
was. It was a lot of fun. I'm gonna have to look at that. He said he actually was part of the Kickstarter, I think it was, that helped make that. So.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And by the way, he also kicked in. It's the North Green Acres Library GC 59520. Well worth the recommendation there, Arister. Really enjoyed that one.
Awesome. Also in the Q&A, I think I see that Banana Sauce is asking why the Americans are talking on the Land Monkey show. I can answer that. It's because Canadians are just so nice. We let everybody talk, even Americans. So
Yeah,
there
we've
you
always known that it was a Land Monkey takeover here soon. So.
He's been very polite and allowed us to stay on our own show for a little bit longer.
Oh, yeah. He even does hostile takeovers politely. So.
well, hey, tonight's topic was mentioned. We're gonna pull it slowly back on track here, but tonight's topic was mentioned during our listener feedback episode, and I seem to remember when that was suggested and it came up, and all of a sudden, a few of us had the hair on the back of our necks go up and say, "Ooh, we're gonna talk about this," but there just was not enough time in the show to include this topic. However, we're gonna talk about dropping a cache or throwdown when you can't find one. So, what's a cacher to do when we can't find that pesky geocache? Should we just throw another one down in its place?
Just throw it down, just like drop it on the trail and run away, or
I like to throw them into blackberry bushes.
yeah. I've
I think some people.
found one of the ones you hid there. Well, it is obviously a highly charged topic, judging by all of the reactions and comments we got. So let's jump into it. Speaking of jumping into blackberries, no.
Topic.
Let's throw our guest at the topic.
What? You're throwing me in the deep end with this one? Oh, great.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, I'm going incognito for this one. I don't want to be
Well, he's got the
recognized at all.
Unabomber look down.
Yeah.
No, that's not good.
Oh, we just been
Throwdowns.
flagged by the NSA. Sorry. It
Oh,
was nice
yeah,
being
great.
here. I'm going to be taken away soon.
And I'm clearly not coming to Bellingham anymore. Oh, dear. Yeah. Throwdowns. I have encountered throwdowns, and it's always interesting because you read the logs and people are saying things like, there's 2 containers here and they've got different dates, and you're like, oh, okay, throwdown. Obviously one of these is a throwdown. I have been sorely tempted to do a throwdown, but no, I logged that DNF instead. I have replaced, I'm going to say about 5 cache containers, but that was always with the CO's prior permission, or I would contact them after DNFing and ask them if I can replace it. But yeah, so official throwdowns, I guess, sanctioned ones.
Thanks. Well, but that's. I mean, would you call that a sanctioned throwdown, or would you just call that
No.
cache maintenance?
Cache maintenance, yeah.
So, then switching back to the topic of actual throwdowns, what's the worst part of a throwdown? Is it the actual replacement of the cache, or the fact that you logged the find?
Well,
And obviously, I don't mean you specifically because you've already told us you don't do that.
No, but if I were to encounter a throwdown and not realize it, then I'm going to log it as a fine because, hey, I found a cache and I signed the logbook. So.
Fair enough. I guess I'm more talking about the perpetrator of the throwdown.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, let me explore this one a little bit, and we're kind of just going off the top of our head a little bit tonight here. But if you're coming to a spot, you for whatever reason you can't find the cache, and you decide there's some reason that you're deciding you're not going to do a DNF. Now it could be you're way the heck out on a trail that you're at like cache number 37 on the trail, and you're like, I don't know if I'm ever going to do this trail again. Do I want to come all the way back uphill up here, uphill both ways in the snow on my snowshoes to find this one cache? So there's a decision you need to make. Am I going to just do the DNF and suck it up, or am I going to throw one down?
There's a third option. Just erase that cache from your list so you don't see it ever again. I mean, you don't exactly. You don't DNF it and you don't throw down. You just pretend it never existed. Then it won't bother me.
So is there an argument that throwdowns are done for the betterment of others?
Ooh. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are doing it just so they can get a smiley, but they justify it by saying that they're doing it for the betterment of others.
Yeah. Yeah, but you got to make sure it's really gone. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, in the Q&A, IHAM says you're welcome, referring to the fact that he brought the topic up all those many episodes ago, a couple, and he's in Q&A tonight. He says you're welcome, and he's, for the record, he also says cache maintenance good, throwdown bad. But since it was IHAM, feel free to target him with your hate mail. Contact me for his private email address and phone number.
It'll be in the show notes, of course.
But like I said, the obvious statement is that you really need to make sure that the cache is actually missing, or you're just causing troubles for everybody. Just this past weekend, when I was doing a few caches with my son, there was a multi we did, and the first stage was a light pole skirt lift with a film can in there, and it had the coordinates in there. Well, somebody had decided to take a scrap of paper and sign it and shove it in there as if that was the final, even though it was clearly a multi, and that was 0.1. So it's not only a throwdown cache, that was kind of a throwdown log sheet, which is just not great.
Yeah.
And we hope those are new cachers who don't understand how a multi works. It's really what we hope.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be a log sheet. I'm just going to put one in here. There. Yeah. I'm doing cache maintenance. But Brylang says it's a fine line
with numbers on it. I don't understand.
Brylang says it's a fine line between throwing down a replacement cache because you couldn't find it and doing cache maintenance for the CO.
Yeah, and like you said, I'm really hopeful that the people that do it are just doing it out of ignorance because they really want to better things for everybody, not because they're just being lazy or whatever reason, I'd like to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's because I'm not the bad cop.
Yeah. Would you say that fine line, though, is really at the point where you have permission? I mean, really, it's about permission from the cache owner.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't have permission from the cache owner, then it's a throwdown. You are taking that decision on your own part to replace a cache that may or may not be missing. Maybe you're just having an off day. Maybe the last person hit it, quote unquote, really well.
When we were talking about throwdowns here, I got to thinking about the recent Gajif Film Festival thing, and one of them was the people that went after that long lost, never been found cache, and they took a replacement with them. But as they mentioned in the video, that was done with the permission of the CO because it's a long hike up there.
Yeah, it hasn't been found in how many years?
At least 8 years, I think it was.
I think a throwdown is okay in that case.
That to Whit's end's point, that wasn't a throwdown. It was
right. It was cache maintenance. Right, you're correct. You're correct. And I interrupted you, and I apologize. We've got so much Q&A. I've got to get some of this. First of all, Landshark says, there was a throwdown on one of our T5 caches and logged as a find by the fellow who did the deed. I asked the next finder to remove it, please. I deleted the log and told the throwdown cacher to go back and sign the correct one that we hid. Grr.
Yeah, arg.
Yeah. I have a similar story in one of the many cache machines that I've done. There was a throwdown cache. Now, I didn't know this at the time because I came well after the thrower downer.
Mm-hmm.
And we looked and, oh, there it is, signed it, off we went. And as I was logging that cache later, back in the day when you had to do it on the website, do you remember that? You had to log things on the website. You couldn't do it from your phone. And the cache owner said, hey, there's been a throwdown. The cache is still where I hid it. I'll accept these logs, but I'm going to go remove the other cache. So, he wasn't happy, but he allowed the fines anyway. So, Air Rooster says the only throwdown I have done, I had the CO on the phone and described the location, and he said it's not where he put it, so replace it to its original condition. Again, that you're doing cache maintenance. That's not a throwdown.
Yeah. We've talked about that. I think we've kind of clarified. And I think we all agree, if I'm correct here around the table, the virtual table, that the line between throwdown and cache maintenance is basically cache owner awareness or permission. Let's just say cache owner permission. Mm-hmm. Now, a thought that occurred to me, Bad Cop, when you're relating your story from the cache machine, and so now I'm going to turn the tables from the geocacher who does a throwdown and turn over to the CO. If Landsharks shared the story of they realized somebody had done a throwdown on a T5 cache and deleted the log of the person who did the throwdown, and as a CO, you have that right. Mm-hmm. What about every other poor sap who finds the throwdown and signs a log because they think that's the cache because there's other signatures on it? Maybe there was cache maintenance done, and that's why there's not that many signatures on the log.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. As a fellow finder, somebody who came after the throwdown was, you look, oh look, it's right in this geo beacon, the spot where I think it should be. There it is. Sign it and move on. You don't think, well, that was too easy. I should look for another cache here. So it's the CO's job then to, well, that's a tough call. I mean, are they required to go do maintenance on fines? No. So I don't know. IHAM, who started the whole thing, I think has a real. Let me just say, IHAM started the whole thing. Are we good with that?
The person whose fault this is? Yeah. Okay.
I think has a really good point to help bring closure to this. He says you can rationalize pretty much anything. It's not for it's for the cachers that come after me. He says, yeah, no. So, he's right. You can rationalize anything. Hey, you know what? Sure. What if you've been, and this has happened, right? You're with somebody who has found the cache before, and they say, well, it's always been right there. It's not there now. Do you do a throwdown because you're with somebody who had found it before? Is that cache maintenance, or is that a throwdown and should be pulled?
Well,
I just log a DNF personally.
Yeah, if you can't find it, you log a DNF. I mean, it's really that simple. And I think it was a really good point earlier. 3Ms, was it you who said it, that you can always put on the ignore list if you. I don't know. Maybe I'm just living in too much of a black and white world here with geocaching, but I do think that, sort of looking towards wrapping this topic up a little bit, which is I think what the Bad Cop's trying to push us towards. It comes down to do you have the CO's permission or not? If you have the CO's permission, it's cache maintenance. If you don't have their permission, it's a throwdown, and it's whether you think it is or not, or whether you're doing it for the greater good. It's not your cache. If you don't have permission to do it, then don't do it. Just log the DNF, and
Yeah, I agree. It's very presumptuous to think, oh no, I know where it's supposed to be and it's not there, so I'm just gonna
And I think in that scenario where you're with a prior finder, that would give you permission to drop a needs maintenance straight away, rather than DNF too. But
yeah, that you could do, sure. Yeah.
Sure. Just not a needs archived.
No.
That's Mr. Geocache guy. Yeah, the geocache guy.
Sorry, just a little aside. The hits on that video are through the roof. I cannot believe how popular that got.
Oh, and we remember you when you were just a little land monkey.
Sarcastic geocache guy.
Well, you've always been the sarcastic geocache guy. Now you just let it out.
Yeah, now everybody knows. Oh, that was so much fun doing that. I've actually got a few others in production, so it'll be fun.
All right. Some more Q&A. G Slink and Slinky Mama. He says, what was it? Q&A Land Monkey has a right. You just can't do it. You just cannot throw a throw down there. And I think as we've established, talk to the CO or just log a DNF. And if you're talking to the CO, it's cache maintenance. IHAM says, and I think he's trying to backpedal his way out of this discussion, there is no shame in DNFs. He says, log the bloomin' DNF already. And I just want to comment on Banana Sauce there. When I mentioned the multi, he says, no one understands how multis work. Ban them. To which I say, hey, some of my favorite caches ever have been multis, and I like them. So, no.
I think that may also possibly be a reference to our last episode where Banana Sauce was one of our guests in the last episode.
I would warp that a little bit. If no one understands multis, ban them.
That's what it was. Yeah. So maybe that's the topic for another episode.
Oh, yeah.
Do you ban the cache type or do you ban the plane?
You ban the cacher who can't find the multi.
Just a thought, devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
What if you know that the cache that you can't find was a lock and lock, and you decide to place an ammo can as a throwdown? So you are upgrading the cache.
Because that happens.
What do we do? Well, I carry ammo cams in my backpack pocket all the time, of course. But
when you're snowshoeing uphill.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
Those little ammo cans I've seen that are about to
yeah, those.
I'll tell you what. If you replace one of my lock and locks with an ammo can, I will thank you, and that will be the new geocache. That will be the one exception. For Pete's sake.
I think I'll go collect the ammo can and put it somewhere else and leave the lock in place.
It'll still be there for the next person who gets there.
But it really points out is how does the cache owner know that the throwdown has happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you start seeing people say, "Oh, I found both containers," I think then the CO would know.
Yeah.
But other than that,
really, unless you've got multiple people searching, how are you going to find multiple containers? Yeah. I stopped looking once I found one.
We've done it before, and it's been. I was trying to think when you posed that question. I was trying to think how is it that we have found multiple containers a few times, and often it's been because in previous logs, someone will either confess that they did a throwdown, and often, so I'm going to have to qualify that because the person that I'm thinking of didn't actually do a throwdown. They placed a replacement with the cache owner's permission, and so it was cache maintenance. So it wasn't a throwdown technically; it was cache maintenance. But we found the original because we found the replaced cache. And we thought, well, and it was a place where there had been a little landslide, so they disrupted. We thought, well, look, that tree that's been washed down the hill, that kind of looks like the one in the hint. Let's go check that. So we went down the hill and we found the original cache container as well.
Wow.
We picked up the maintenance one and brought it back and gave it back to the person who had done the maintenance. But go ahead.
Boy, that sounds like cache maintenance. Yeah.
I've found throwdowns. I think what happens is in the height of summer with all the growth, people can't find the caches, so they put a throwdown. Then you come along in wintertime and everything's died back, and boom, there's 2 caches.
There you go. Perfect scenario, yeah. Or the other way around. You're there in the winter and everything's under leaves or snow.
Yep, fair enough.
G-Sync and Slinky Mama says, we found multiple containers before. We signed both and then let the CO know. But, and if you've got multiple searchers, that's right. But, if I've lost my keys, as soon as I find my keys, I stop looking for my keys.
But do you usually lose multiple sets at the same time?
No.
Well, that's good.
Because there should only be one. And I'm only looking for one. So.
It's always in the last place you look.
Yeah, that's right. Because at that point, you stop looking.
But all right.
Aye.
So let's round this up. Let's see where we're at. We have determined that the difference between a throwdown and cache maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
And the line in the sand is cache owner's permission. We're all in agreement on that? Is that?
Yes. Knowledge of the knowledge or contact from the CO equals cache maintenance.
Okay. What was the other contentious? The deleting of logs. Deleting of logs is the prerogative of the cache owner.
Exactly.
It's always the prerogative of the cache owner. I don't, so.
But if you delete logs beyond the person who obviously did the throwdown, is that cool or not cool?
Not cool.
As a general rule, not cool. I mean, I suppose there could be an example, and I'm not even know what it would be at the moment. But you really, it's hard to punish the people that came along and honestly think they found the correct cache.
Yeah. Okay. What about land sharks and their T5 cache that somebody did a throwdown on? You go, boy, this is a T5. This is the easiest T5 cache I found.
Well, we found caches that we thought didn't fit the difficulty rating or the terrain rating.
Well, remember, T5, they didn't say if it was a D5. They just said T5, so that's just the terrain to get there, which could mean also that you needed a boat or something to get there, right? Am I getting my ratings?
You're correct.
Yeah.
So
or a land monkey driving into the lake.
Or a land monkey driving through a lake.
Or a land monkey on the sand.
Yeah, we won't talk about the beach. Don't mention the war. So in that case, it may not be a super difficult hide. It's just difficult to get there. So bad cop, just to be like three hands in a row, be the devil's advocate to your statement. It may not have been a hard cache to find per se, but I think your point is still valid. Of if you walk up and for whatever reason the cache seems pretty easy or pretty obvious to find, or more so than is suggested by a page.
Mm-hmm.
Then something's awry.
Ooh, not pumpernickel.
No.
Land sharks goes on to say it wasn't an island, so you had to get a boat.
Thus the terrain rating.
Thus the terrain rating. So, Air Rooster asks a question. This is a good follow-up. Should you remove a throwdown if you find both containers?
I would say generally no.
How do you know which one's the throwdown?
Exactly.
What if they're both film canisters?
And in the case I was talking about, it was because I knew the person who had done the replacement, and I found the original, and I knew which container was which, that I made that call. But I think under normal circumstances, and actually this happened to us just a few weeks ago when we did our geocaching adventure on Vancouver Island. There was 2 separate instances where we found multiple cache containers at the same site, and we're like looking at each other going, oh, because it was one of those things where there's 2 of us, we each find a cache container. Like, you got it or I have it. They both had logs with multiple signatures spanning a period of time. So like, well, just like G-Slink said earlier, so we'll just sign them both, put them both back.
Yeah, for me it would be pretty easy. I would look at both logbooks see which one was clearly the older of the two, and I would make that be the proper cache. I'd move the log sheet from the other one into that same one, and CETO what was obviously the throwdown.
And put the whole thing in your new ammo can?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that you use the term CETO.
Well, they dropped it by accident, right? There happened to be a log sheet in it by accident as well.
Who knew?
Sometimes it's hard to tell which is the older. I mean, the logs aren't always signed in a nice, clean, neat, sequential order.
Well, if you can find the FTF line, then you know.
Yeah.
So can you claim FTF on a throwdown? No, let's not go there.
Don't go
Let's instead...
I do that all the time. If I find a blank log sheet, even if the cache has been out for years and the cache owner just said maintenance, I'll sign FTF. Actually, I have done that sometimes as a joke. If I know the CO, I'll write FTF and put our name and the date just as a joke.
Where were we? Oh, it was on the Wits End. Come on, that bunch of geocaches we did together.
The
Auburn Cache Machine.
Yeah.
Or Auburn Geocoin.
Geocoin Challenge or whatever. Yeah.
Went there, found the log, and there were several names on the back side of the log. Nobody signed the front in the FTF line, so I put my name there.
Yeah.
That don't count.
I didn't claim FTF, but I went ahead and signed FTF.
Right. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, if you're not claiming it, then it's just whatever.
Somebody else came along. We saw him after the event. They said, "Yeah, I saw your names there. I thought it was weird that nobody else had found it by that time of day."
Yeah, we're pretty awesome.
Yeah, well,
jumped around a lot. Landshark says you need to let the CO know about the throwdown, and they need to deal with it.
Yeah.
Take photos, log both if you're not sure which is the real cache. That's really good advice.
That does sound like good advice.
G-Sync and Slinky Mama says, the only logs I have ever deleted is when people sign my decoy and it's not the actual log. It clearly states this is decoy and you need to keep looking. I will tell you, those infuriate me.
I think I'm going to hide one near his house.
It's a long drive, but
it's one thing if it's like the cache 1 in 50 where there's a bunch of little containers inside of bigger, but if it's spread out in an area, nope, this isn't it. Nope, this isn't it. I was like, why do you do this?
There was one out here that was that way. I think it's still in play, but it was. And a number of people had signed the decoy log that clearly said, "Keep." I can't remember the exact wording, but along the lines of "keep."
You're getting close. This isn't it, though.
And a lot of people just signed it. I guess screw this. I'm done.
I found something that's close enough. A container's a container and add a sheet of paper in it.
Delete.
Oh, only time I found a decoy, they deliberately didn't have a log sheet inside the decoy.
Yeah, but then people are just going to put one in, right?
Well, that's true. That's true.
They'll do a throwdown log sheet.
Yeah.
But I mean, unless you're going out and checking, so you'd have to actually be going out and checking and doing the cache maintenance to know that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how else would you possibly know, unless somebody said in their log what container it was?
The container was empty, so I put in a new log sheet.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't supposed to be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
So when in doubt, you should always just write TFTC, so the CO is no wiser.
Exactly.
No name, no date.
No, online.
Online too. Yeah, that's always helpful. All right.
3 hams, we can't have you back now.
You can have 2 of the hams back, but not the third one, obviously.
And never the rose.
No.
Oh, G-Slink put up the coordinates, or the GC number. It's GC, hold on, let me select this. GC5A940. And I only have a couple of easy caches. It has a lot of favorite points. Is that okay? No.
It was evil, not easy.
I have a couple of evil caches. Yeah.
He might have a couple of easy caches as well, but they're not the
It
same.
could be.
All right. Well, I think, guys, that covers it. Do we feel like we have at least stated our opinions and our position on throwdowns?
Yes, our physician on throwdowns. Yes.
All right. I guess we're probably just about ready to wrap things up. Before we do, if I know that since Banana Sauce is on the show
And thus awake.
if he happens to know if Dora Moore ever solved that music puzzle near his house,
Yeah.
find out. So we will wrap the show up, but we'll after the bad cop plays the music and fades us out, we will still be online for a little while. So I'll keep an eye on the Q&A and see if there's an answer on that. And that's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, if somebody really, after all this discussion, said, you know, those guys are really weird, I'm going to go contact them. Let's say they did. Because I can't imagine right now anybody would want to. But let's say they did. Where, oh where on the interwebs would they do such a thing? Land Monkey, where can you be found?
Well, we can always be found at landmonkey.blogspot.ca, and most often we're found on Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope, and that's at LandMonkeyGC. On Facebook, we're Team Landmonkey, and of course, on YouTube, just Landmonkey. And as I said, there are more videos in the hopper, normal Landmonkey geocaching adventures out in different cool places, but also we got a couple of deer geocache guys coming as well. How about yourself, Three Hounds?
Well, as I said last week, I've been court-ordered not to reveal this information, but I guess this week I can hand out some information. You could either try and get hold of me through geocaching.com, 3 hams and a rose, that's the ampersand, not the word and, or Twitter, where you do have to write out the word and, so 3 hams and a rose.
Was the other one taken? Is that why you had to change them up?
No, Twitter wouldn't let me use the ampersand.
Huh. Interesting. There you go. How about yourself, Wits End?
Wits End is Wits End. Twitter, Facebook, geocaching, all those things. I have nothing in the hopper, not even Doc Hopper's French fried frog legs. But just look for Wits End on most social media. And Bad Cop, where are you?
Wow, that was an obscure reference. I am Caching NW. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, even the Google Pluses.
Ah, the pluses. All right, well.
Oh no, Brylang has already followed me on Twitter. This is not good. Thanks, Brylang.
Let's sign off before somebody else follows you. How about that?
Yes.
For all of you guys out there, we want to thank you. And go follow 3 Hams and a Rose. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this, your very episode of Caching in the Northwest. You know, you can be part of the show. We haven't mentioned it a lot tonight, but you can call 253-693-TFTC. Leave us a comment, ask us a question, send us a replacement cache container. We promise not to throw it down the trail. Do that anytime, day or night. And, of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. You know, your support helps to keep quality shows coming. Nothing like this episode. No. Quality shows coming. If you like this show, thank you. And please click the PayPal button on the cachingnw.com website. This show is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2015 by Chris Huntenauer.
Good night, folks.
Thanks all.
And we are clear of the recording.
There we go.
Ihem says it was not that obscure.
It was the Muppet movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's the first thing that popped in my head when you said Hopper.
I just thought of Dennis Hopper.
It was Gone with the Schwinn.
I thought A Bug's Life.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
With the grasshoppers and such.
No, the main locust was named Hopper.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah. Was he played by Dennis Hopper? Wouldn't that be
I
ironic?
think it was Dennis
Ironic.
O'Leary.
Dennis the Menace.
Like in the Q&A, stalker alert.
Yeah. I've often thought that about Bryling.
He was voiced by Kevin Spacey.
Oh, there you go. Kevin Spacey. Interesting.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Ooh.
Puppet alert.
Puppet. Is that what we're doing now?
Well, I had him out. This is awkward to say. The pole he sits on is used to put up my Christmas lights.
My pole.
Well, if you need a pole, here's one you can use.
Thank you.
One thing we failed to mention, I forgot because I wanted to throw it in early on in the show, and I totally forgot to do it. Is that we're trying our best to keep pace with the Cache and Release podcast, and they had a physics professor on not too long ago, so we thought we'd try and one up them and bring a chemistry professor.
Ooh. Oh, me! Oh.
What's better, physics or
Yeah,
chemistry?
that's you.
So let's just put it this way. My students love chemistry labs. They hate the physics labs. So, we'll take it with that.
I have to say, when I was in talking with Three Hams today, and I said, well, why don't you come on and talk with us tonight? He goes, how do I find the Hangout? I said, well, finding a Google Hangout is more of an art than a science.
Yeah,
he goes, no, I'm a science teacher.
I was deeply offended.
That's awesome. I love it.
Oh, G-Slink says we need the puppets on December 13th. The Caching in the NorthWest crew is ready to go with puppets.
Yeah.
You just need to get all the other hosts involved.
There you go. The puppets are definitely just sort of a part of who we are now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Our puppets are trackable. Do you have a trackable puppet?
No.
Banana Sauce says the slow invasion, the most polite of takeovers.
Excuse me. Do you mind, please, if we could just take over now?
Could I just have 1 minute on the show? Maybe 2 next week.
Yes.
3 the week after.
Talk me ever so much.
Oh no, it's okay. I'll take care of the show notes. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Ay.
If you wouldn't mind giving us Washington State. Nothing to see here.
You know what? Take Montana. There are more people in the city of Seattle than the state of Montana.
Indeed.
Nobody will notice, and I think that will help with Banana Sauce's takeover anyway.
Well, I have friends in Montana now, in Helena.
In Helena.
We went and did the Geo Tour. We met some really cool people with the Helena Geo Tour.
What if they became fellow Canadians?
Then they'd be even better, which is hard to.
Right. Brylink says give Washington State back.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll trade you back Washington State if we can just have that stupid little peninsula that's hanging off.
Wait, Roberts?
Yeah.
I don't understand why that's not Canada anyway, but
the most ridiculous.
It is.
I understand drawing an arbitrary line and saying, here, we own from here. But when there's
at the Gulf Islands and Victoria, it dips down there.
I don't think it was on the maps originally. They didn't draw it in, and like, there's nothing there. And, oh, that's 3 square miles. Oops, we missed it.
Now what are we gonna do?
Hey, here's the Go Cache geocaching themed card game if you're interested. It was kind of fun. So
does it play a little bit like Go Fish? I mean, that's what comes to my mind when I hear that name.
Well, you see 3 of the cards there. One is a cache, one is a lifeline, one is a device, a GPS. So you play a GPS and you try to find caches, and your opponents can play muggle cards to try to muggle your caches. You play lifelines to counter the muggles, and some of the cards and multipliers. It's cool. It was fun.
So it's much more complex than what I was
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. So
Oh, and they do have cards, suits on them. I see, a 3 of spades. I see a 10 of hearts. I see
I
an
noticed
8
that. I
of
think you could
clubs.
use the deck to play a regular card game that way too. So it's kind of handy to. It'd be fun to keep in the camping gear for when you're out in the campsite and stuff next summer.
When you can't find a real cache.
Keep in the house for when the power goes out this winter. And
How come on the phone a friend card it looks like she's holding a 1950s rotary phone instead of a smartphone?
well, that's the phone.
That's
I have.
why she needs help.
I guess.
Smartphone doesn't work with the geocaching.
What was a lot of fun too is that Eris just said since he was part of the Kickstarter campaign, he got to pick a custom card. So one of the cards he has duplicate of two, I think it was 10 of clubs or whatever, because the one has his custom logo on it, and he used the Cash Advance logo. So that was kind of cool. There's a Cash Advance card in there.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to look for that. That was a fun game.
Nice.
Not just because I beat Air Rooster at it.
But that's one of the primary reasons.
But that helped.
Beginner's luck. Excuse me.
Absolutely.
Okay, Q&A.
Yeah.
I think Banana Sauce fell back to sleep. He hasn't responded yet.
Okay.
IHAM says 54 to 40 or fight.
What?
That's what I don't know the reference. 54 to 40 or fight.
5440. Wasn't that a Van Halen album?
Yeah, it's a Van Halen album. It's a police code for murder in progress or something. I don't know.
No, it is U.S. history. According to Google, I have heard it before. I couldn't quite bring the boundary up.
To do with lines of
But
latitude. I mean, the 49th parallel is the. So that doesn't make sense.
Yes, it was part of the Oregon Territory. The Oregon Territory spanned the modern states of Oregon, Idaho, and Washington, as well as the western coast of Canada up to the border of Russian Alaska. And so, yeah, there was a whole argument over where things should be. From
Yes.
Parallel 54 degrees 40 minutes north.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'll have to look that up a little bit.
Now, Breiling says what is now Washington State used to be controlled by Britain and was ceded to the U.S. as a result of one of the European War's peace treaties. And IHAM responds with Breiling, just remember that in parentheses, according to the Kaiser, we won the pig war.
Yay.
Okay. Shall we go on? Air Rooster says the Oregon boundary dispute, or the Oregon question, was a controversy over political division in the Pacific Northwest of North America between several imperialist nations that had compelling territorial and commercial aspirations over the region.
Oh my goodness. All right.
And there's the 54 degrees, 40 minutes or fight website posted here. Now I have to put it in the show notes.
That's actually the site I was just looking at and reading.
Okay, there you go. All right. Well, there you go. You can't say that we don't have an educational component to our.
I've learned. I did not know this, and I live in the territory in question.
So here's my question, and unfortunately, we're concerned that Banana Sauce might be napping at this point in time, or perhaps has gone off to work because
or worse,
8 hours ahead of us.
His cat murdered him.
One of the cats, or all the cats.
Oh yeah.
Finally,
The cats have formed a rebellion. He's actually tied up in the kitchen.
Murphy's trying to save him. But anyways, I was going somewhere with all of that. Oh, yes. Whether or not this discussion would fall under the category of facts of the uselessness or not. So I guess we'd really have to have Sam weigh in on that. and Sam never watches podcasts or listens to them because he has
That's
the
a shame.
attention fan of the cat. Which I can relate to, having a teenage boy.
I tend to have the attention span of your average salami.
Well, there's a setup. Oh, dear. Okay.
Okay, I think we've reached a natural end.
I think the extended, prolonged silences are probably indicative of that. Plus the fact we're all tired.
Yeah.
I can't believe that Gary's still on. It's like past midnight for him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
My goodness. All right. Well, everybody, we're all tired and we're going to bed, but thanks for hanging out with us. Oh, what was that?
Well, hello. Gary, who's, should be asleep by now, says history is never useless, ever.
That's right.
Brady Marshall says, good book about state borders in the United States, how the states got their shapes. I find that fascinating, to be honest with you.
It is interesting, and I find the same thing with the provinces in Canada. I think any large country where there's subdivision, whether they're states or counties or provinces or whatever they're determined to be, there's always some sort of split between either geography or geography and politics that causes.
I was going to say, yeah, look up gerrymandering if you want to see about political boundaries.
Yes.
But you got to admit, the U.S. Southwest, come on, they're all square shapes. Come on. It's lines of latitude and longitude.
Have you been there? There's nothing there to fight over.
No.
In fact, the one spot there is called Four Corners because it's
exactly
an exact, 90-degree angle. Like, we don't care. Draw a line here. Nobody wants this.
That's my sagebush.
Yeah. Oh, well, G-Slink works from home all week. That's why he can stay up late. So, he'll be useless in the morning.
Unlike me, who's worthless now. And in the morning.
You're right. How it's time to leave when we're getting multiple good nights. The Q&A.
Plus my beer's empty. Come on.
Oh no.
We're done.
IHAM says How the States Got Their Shape is also a video series available on Amazon Prime Video.
There you go. That might be a good
and
one.
Good night, Brylang.
Night,
Brady.
Brylang.
And Air Rooster.
Night, guys.
Good night.
Cheerio.